you can draw this in Procreate. Or actually, we won't really be drawing, but we are creating this photo collage. I've seen these types of artworks in like home deco print shops, and I thought it would be fun to create something like this because it's really easy. And as always with the You Can Draw This video tutorials, you don't need any experience with drawing or with Procreate. Just check these results from the previous tutorials. And if you want more after following this tutorial, if you want to create other projects, then you can check out my Patreon page. Here are some examples of results from my patrons. All you need for this tutorial is a canvas that is 2300 pixels by 3000 pixels, a color palette which I have linked in the description, and you'll need a bunch of photos which I have also linked in the description. These are all free, so once you have downloaded them, you are ready to go. Let's get started. What we are going to do is create layers of mountains, and we are going to use the brush Evolve, which you can find under drawing. And to keep things organized, we are going to use a different color, or actually a different value, a different shade of gray for each layer of mountain. So we'll start with the dark one. Now the opacity of the brush is at 100%, and I have the size set to 2%. And now we are going to create a wobbly line, which it doesn't even really count as drawing. Anyone can create a wobbly line, I think. We'll start about here. And we are just going to wobble our way to the right side of the canvas. So don't give it too much thought. Just create like a wobbly line that looks a bit like a mountain range. And once you are on the other side, you can drag in the color like this. And you can hold your pen in place and then drag it to the right or left to adjust the color drop threshold. In case you get a little white line, just along the edge, or if your color spills all over, then you need to lower the color drop threshold. So this is the first layer of mountain. Now we are going to create another one by just clicking the plus for a new layer, and we will switch to the next shade of gray. And again, we'll just wobble our way to the other side of the canvas. We'll start about here. And you can cover parts or go higher than the other mountain a little bit in some parts. Just wobble, really easy. Go to the other side and drag in the color to fill the layer. Then we'll move on and create a new layer again. Just click the plus and move to the third shade of gray. And we'll start a bit lower this time, about here. And you can make wobbles that are a bit less spiky, for instance, to add some variation to your mountains. Then once you are on the right side, just drag in the gray to fill it. And don't forget to make a new layer for your new mountain. And then go to the fourth shade of gray. And then we are going to wobble again. I'll make this one a bit, well, spikier here on the left side. Just try to vary it a little bit. Then drag in the color like this. And then go to the layer menu, click the plus again for the new layer. And then go to the fifth shade of gray in the color palette. Then we'll start a little bit lower. And again, just wobble. Go up and then down a bit. Go up and then down again. Go a bit higher than the previous mountain in some areas, and then drag in the color to fill it. 3 more layers of mountain to go. Let's go to the layer menu, click the plus for a new layer, and then go to the 6th shade of gray. Again, we'll start a bit lower. Let's go up here, cover that area, and then down again. Drag in the color. 2 more to go. Go to the layer menu, click the plus for a new layer, and then go to the 7th color or 7th shade of gray in the color palette. Then we'll start about here. Again, wobble to the other side. And then drag in the color. Then final layer, click the plus again, and then pick the 8th color in the color palette, or a shade of gray. We'll go a little bit lower, Go down here. You don't have to make the exact same line as I am making, of course. Just create your own wobbly line and then drag in the color to fill it. I feel like this is already looking pretty cool on its own. But we're not finished yet, actually. Let's create a new layer on top by clicking the plus and drag it all the way to the bottom. Click and hold it first and drag it to the bottom. Then we are going to grab a different brush. You can find it under Industrial, and it's the Rusted Decay brush. And for the color, let's pick the 5th shade of gray in the color palette. I have the opacity of this brush set to 100% and the size is at, well, I can't really see it. I think it's 60%. And now glaze over the top area of the sky, just like that. And now let's add some planets to our sky. This is like a space scene. So let's do that on a separate layer. Click the plus. Then for the brush, let's use the monoline brush, which you can find under calligraphy. And the color you use, it doesn't really matter as long as you are able to see your circle on the background. Now I have the opacity of the brush at 100% and you can set the size to something like 10%. And I'll just draw a circle. Hold your pen in place and then tap one finger on the screen to make it snap to a perfectly round circle. Then drag in the color to fill your circle. And if you want to adjust it, if you want to make it smaller, bigger, whatever, then you can go to the arrow tool here at the top. And if you have it set to uniform, you can use these handles in the corners to make it smaller or bigger. And you can move it around. Now go back to the layer menu, click the plus for a new layer. And let's make more planets. Let's use the brush, the monoline brush again. Let's create another planet over here. Hold your pen in place, tap one finger on the screen, and then drag in the color to fill the circle. Now I want two smaller ones over here, so we'll make a new layer again. Click the plus. Every planet should have its own layer. Let's make a small one over here. Hold your pen in place, tap one finger on the screen, and then drag in the color to fill it. Now let's add one more. So we'll go to the layers, click the plus for a new one, and let's make an even smaller one over here. Hold your pen in place, tap one finger on the screen, and then drag in the color to fill it. Now in this next step, we are going to add all the photos to our collage. Let's start with the background. We'll go to layer 9 here at the bottom, then we'll go to the wrench, and then go to add, and then to insert a photo. And we are going to use this photo over here. It's a blue sky. Let's rotate it by using that green handle. And then make it bigger by using those handles. Or by using your fingers like this. Might be a bit easier. Move it up so that the bottom part has some of these clouds. Then go to the layer menu, click the N. Right now, the layer is set to normal, but we are going to set it to hard light. And now when you look at the artwork, the sky, it has a nice blue textured look. Then we'll move on to the mountains. Let's start with layer 1, the mountain in the back. Then we'll go to the wrench again, go to insert a photo, and we'll use this photo over here. Let's rotate it by using the green handle or by using your fingers. It's a bit easier in this case. And then once you have it positioned, have it covering the entire mountain, then go to the layer menu, click that inserted image, and then use clipping mask. Now it's clipped to that mountain and it's only showing up on that mountain. Then we'll move on to the next one, layer 2. Then again, go to the wrench, use insert a photo, and then use this photo over here. I'll be sure to number all these photos in the description so you'll know which is which and when to use what photo. Then go to the layer menu, click that layer and use clipping mask. Then we'll go on to the next layer 3, go to the wrench again, then to insert a photo, and then we'll use this photo. Then go to the layer menu, click the layer and turn on clipping mask. Now, of course, you can still move this layer around if you go to the arrow tool. You can move it around, make it smaller, bigger, whatever you want. So you can play around with that a little bit. Then go to layer 4. Next one, go to the wrench, then to insert a photo. And then we'll use this photo. We'll have to move this layer around. Let me use my fingers. Make it a little bit bigger, perhaps. Just make sure that you cover the entire mountain. Then go to the layer menu, click the layer and turn on clipping mask. And then you can just go to the move tool and play around with it a little bit so that it's looking the way you like it. Then go on to the next layer, layer 5. Then go to the wrench, use insert a photo, and then use this one over here. Go to the layer menu, click the inserted image and use clipping mask. On to the next one, layer 6. Click the wrench, insert a photo. Then we'll use this one. Rotate it by using the green handle. Then go to the layer menu, click the layer and use clipping mask again. Then on to layer 7. First click layer 7, then go to the wrench, then to insert a photo, and then we are going to use this one over here. You can move it around a little bit, make it bigger. Then go to the layer menu, click the layer and use clipping mask. Then go on to layer 8, then go to the wrench, insert a photo, and then we'll use this photo. Let's rotate it. And make sure that it's a little bit bigger. Then go to the layer menu again, click the inserted image, and then use clipping mask. Now we have added photos to all of our mountain layers. Let's do the same thing for our planets. Let's go to the big one first. That's layer 10. Then go to the wrench, insert a photo again. Let's use this one over here. And we are going to place it on top of our planet. You can make it a little bit smaller. Then go to the layer menu, click it, and then turn on clipping mask. Now let's do the same for the smaller planets. First we'll go to layer 11, go to the wrench, use insert a photo, and let's pick this one over here. Let's make it smaller. I want some nice color on our planet here. So let's first use clipping mask, click the layer, turn on clipping mask. And now it's easier to see what colors are showing up on our planet. So you can actually go to the move tool and move it around until it's looking the way you like it. You can rotate it. I think this is looking nice. And then just click the arrow again. Now finally, for our smaller planets, let's go to layer 12, then go to insert a photo again. Let's use this one. You can make the photo smaller to decrease the texture size. Then go to the layer menu again, click that layer and turn on clipping mask. And then finally, our last planet, layer 13, go to the wrench, insert a photo. And let's use this one for this little planet. I'll make it smaller. Cover the planet. Then go to the layer menu, click the layer and turn on clipping mask. Now this is already looking really cool, but we're going to add a little extra. Since this is supposed to be like a photo collage, I want some ripped paper effect on the edges. As if we have been tearing these images out of a magazine. But to do that, we'll need quite a bunch of extra layers. And if you are having issues with the amount of layers, what you can do is either you can decrease the size of your canvas. You can do that by going to the wrench, then to canvas, then to crop and resize. Just make sure that when you go to settings, you set it to resample canvas, and then you can make it a bit smaller. And then you'll be able to add more layers. But before you do that, you can also merge the planet layers by pinching them together like this, or like this. I'd go for that last one. So that saves you some layers. Now let's go and add that white edge to our torn paper mountains. We are going to do that by duplicating these mountain layers, all these grayscale mountain layers. So first let's do layer 1, drag it to the left, then click duplicate, then go to the bottom one, and we are going to pick pure white, go to the color menu and double tap here in, well, it's not a corner, but it's the upper left area, and then drag the color onto the mountain. Now you can't see anything right now, but when you go to your layer menu, you'll see that this bottom layer 1 is white. Then we'll go to the move tool, that's the little arrow, and we are going to tap just above our mountain. So just tap a couple of times and it'll move that layer up. I believe I have tapped about 7 times, but I wasn't counting. Now let's do the same thing for the next layer, layer 2. So first duplicate it by sliding to the left, clicking duplicate, go to the bottom layer, drag the white in, then go to the move tool and tap with your pen to move it up. And we are going to repeat this step for every single mountain layer. So duplicate it, go to the bottom one, drag the white on top, go to the move tool, and tap a couple of times, about 4 times perhaps, to move it up. Then to layer 4, duplicate it, go to the bottom one, drag in the white, go to the move tool, and tap a couple of times to move it up. Onto layer 5, duplicate it, go to the bottom one, drag in the white, go to the move tool, tap about 3 or 4 times to move it up. Then layer 6, duplicate it, go to the bottom one, drag in the color, go to the move tool, tap 3 or 4 times, then go to layer 7, duplicate it, go to the bottom one, we're almost there, drag in the color, go to the move tool, tap a bunch of times to move it up. Then the final layer, layer 8, duplicate it, go to the bottom one, drag in the color, then go to the move tool, tap a couple of times, and then click the move tool again. And that's it. You have created a lovely artsy photo collage space landscape artwork. And just be honest, that was really easy. What's also really easy is hitting that thumbs up underneath the video or subscribing to the channel, because I actually found out that a whole bunch of you are watching these videos without being subscribed. It's a mystery. So if you aren't subscribed yet, then you know what to do. Also, if you have followed this tutorial all the way till the end, then you can share your work on social media. If you are sharing it on Instagram, then don't forget to tag me in the image, not just in the description. That way I will be able to find your work. And then perhaps we'll see it in the next You Can Draw This video tutorial. I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you next time for the next tutorial.